Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of Banish the Doubt. This morning, I want to continue with this theme, this topic that I've been talking about, which is our self image. Guys, I believe that it is this is it, is how we see ourselves that determines everything in our life. If you're somebody who is watching this video right now and your self image is of a person that is if I asked you how much money, what's the most amount of money that you ever generated in your life? And you notice I use the word generate, not earn. Earn is a conditioned belief that has been handed down to us from generations, in fact, probably ancestrally. How much money have you generated? What's the most amount of money you generated in your life? And you said to me, whatever amount of money may be, let's say it's the most I ever generated was 50,000 a year or 45,000 a year. That's because your self-image, you cannot see yourself generating 70, 80, 100,000, 600,000, 700,000, a million, 2 million, 3 million, 10 million. The image you have of yourself just can't see that. And that's okay. But it's my passion is to generate income through making these videos. My passion is generating an income through making these videos by helping others to understand that it is our self-image, it's the way we see ourselves that ultimately determines how much money we generate. We are all capable of generating millions of dollars a year. It is our self-image. It is what we believe in. It is the way we've been conditioned to believe that either has us generating that kind of income or not. The majority of the world, as we know, never generates that kind of income, never lives that kind of lifestyle because they don't believe they can. And it is not a conscious belief. A lot of it is an unconscious belief. I will tell you that Bob Proctor, for the majority of his young adult life, never generated more than $40,000 a year. But he ended up living a lifestyle where the same people who paid him $40,000 a year were paying him $4,000 an hour. Did he get any kind of formal training? Did he go to university? Did he get any advanced degrees? No. He just decided that he was going to do a self-inspection, figure out what it is that has him to the point where he feels his self-image is only that of someone who could generate a $40,000 a year income and not a $4,000 per hour income, or generate that kind of money, attract that kind of money. You see, because guys, we don't generate income. We attract the money. We attract it to ourselves. And if we're living our life where we think that, well, if somebody else is out there, that they're determining how much money I make and it's their fault, and if only if they'll change, then I will change or I'll feel better. Understand this. I read this from Dr. Wayne Dyer. He says, if you think others are responsible for the way you feel, then you're going to have to send the world to a psychologist for you to be better or for you to feel better. Think about that. If you're thinking that somebody else is out there responsible for how I'm thinking, shudder the thought. Stop it right now. Banish it from your life. Banish the doubt. Banish that type of thinking. Because like Wayne Dyer said, you're going to have to send the world to a psychiatrist in order for you to feel better. It's obviously a little bit of a joke, but you understand what we're saying. So I'm going to illustrate two different ways on how our rational mind, how we have these thoughts come into our mind, and how we can utilize these thoughts in a negative or a positive way. Bob Proctor, back in, I think, the 70s, was looking to have this company contract with him to have him speak to their sales force and how he would help the sales force to generate more income for themselves and obviously for the company. So he sought out to talk with this man. He was a vice president of sales for the region, for this mid-Atlantic region for the Prudential company at the time. And at the time, Prudential was the number one insurance company in the world. This man was the vice president of the region within, I believe it was called the Mid-Atlantic region. At the time, the number one region out of 10 regions in the country. So this guy was a pretty big heavy hitter. So Bob went to his office and the guy said to him, okay, Bob, what is it? I don't have much time. And Bob said, hey, I'm here. I want you to hire me. My company is going to help your sales force generate a higher income or more sales, write more business. And the guy leaned back in his chair and he opened up and he threw a bunch of brochures on his desk and he said, look, you see what these are? And Bob goes, yeah. He said, well, those are all the people who came here before you saying the same thing. So why should I believe you? And Bob said, well, we're different. Now, Bob said, we're different. He also said at the time, there was no we're. It was me and an associate. That was it. But he had a brochure that made him look like his company was big, a big company. So the guy said, well, why are you different? And Bob said, because we get results. He said, they all said the same thing, Bob. Well, you're wasting my time, basically. So Bob knew at that point he had to say something, do something in order to get this guy to say yes. So what he said was, look, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for all the seminar, I'll pay for the hotel, I'll pay for everything, marketing, whatever. It's not going to cost you a dime. All I ask you give me your top 100 salespeople in your region, in your company. Not the best, not the worst, the top 100. And we are going to let them decide whether or not what I'm teaching is worth their time and they're going to help them to write more business. So the guy agreed. Bob went on to have this seminar and he said to each one of them, there was 400 actually showed up. He said to each one of them, each one of you can write $5 million of business this year. Now it was August of that year. And he said he could hear a clap. It was all their minds shutting down. They all thought, this guy's crazy. No way. It's never been done. There was over 20,000 agents in the company. Not one has ever done this. So during the break, a guy approached Bob. He said, hey, did you ever write any insurance business? Bob said, no, I haven't. He said, yeah, I figured as much. He said, so you're wasting our time here. And Bob goes, wait a minute. He says, I just said I never wrote business. I never said I don't believe in what I'm selling you here. I'm talking to you about. I absolutely believe in this. And the guy said to him, the guy's name was Don. He said, you understand that Prudential is the number one company in the world? And Bob said, yeah. He said, do you understand there's 20,000 agents in this company? He said, yeah. He said, not one of them has ever written $5 million of business in 1 year. And Bob said, yeah. So he said, is you saying I could do it? And Bob goes, yeah, you'll be the first one to do it. He said, no one's ever done it. He said, right. He said, you'll be the first. He said, you're saying it this year. And Bob goes, right, this year. He said, I'm going to just shift this computer this way, guys, so you can start seeing this board. He said to Bob, yeah, it's August. He said, more than half the year's over with. So Bob came back. He said, great. He said, that means you have less time which to do it. It'd be more impressive. Bob then said to the guy, he said, listen, he said, if you get this thought in your mind, this idea that you can write $5 million of business this year, he said, you absolutely become emotional about it. You believe with every fiber in your being that you can do this. He said, I'm telling you that your world will change. Thoughts are going to be different. The universe is going to act differently towards you. He said, I guarantee you that's going to happen, and you will be able to do this. And the guy said, you really believe this? He said, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't believe it. I'm telling you, you can do it. If you do what I say, he said, if you get this idea in your mind and you hold to it and you become emotional about it and you believe it with every fiber of your being, you will do this. I guarantee it will happen for you. That was in August. The second week of December, Don Sloan, who had approached Bob Proctor, said to him, he wrote $5.2 million worth of business for that year. That was December 2nd. He finished the year just over $6 million of business. The company did a write-up in their periodical, their magazine. Bob opened it up from the seminar I watched. He said on one side, he showed it. He said on one side was this man, Don Sloan, a picture of him, and the other side was a write-up of the conversation that they had. And he said, everybody in this seminar, Bob said, can do what that man did. In fact, and here's the key, ladies and gentlemen, after that man did it, hundreds of agents after them did it year after year. They got an idea in their head. They became emotional about it. They became steadfast in the belief that they are doing it. And it worked out. They're doing it. They did it because not only did he do it, hundreds more after him did it. This is why I'm talking to you about the image in your mind. I go back to I'm asking you, what's the most amount of money you generated, not earned, generated in your life? You generate it. You create it. Money is just a piece of paper with some green ink on it. But you create it. You attract it to you. How much? What's the most? And how much can you conceive of? You believe that. You see it. You feel it. You write it down on a piece of paper. You write down in the present tense. I am so grateful and thankful, or I'm so happy and thankful now that I am earning this much money. I have lost this much weight, whatever it may be in your life. It doesn't have to just be money, but whatever it may be in your life, you act as if you all are already that. You embody that. It is proven. Another story on the negative side of this comes from a story about a man in 1977 in Kansas. This preacher talked about it in he gave this talk to his congregation. He was also a friend of Bob Proctor. And he said in 1977, there was a man who worked on the railroad, and he got inside of a refrigerator car and inadvertently locked himself in it. And he banged on the side of the wall of the car. Nobody heard him. And he resigned himself to the fact that was it. He was locked in. Nobody heard him. No one was going to come and save him. That he was going to die inside of this car. So as the night went on, he started to write on the side of the wall. And he wrote, I am so cold. And just below that, he wrote, I am so very cold. I am starting to feel numb. And a line beneath that, he wrote, it's getting so, I'm so numb, I can barely write anymore. I feel like this is it. And then the last note he wrote, on the sentence he wrote on the wall was, I resign myself that I will no longer be able to hang on. And he didn't. He passed away. The next morning, when the employees from the railroad opened up the car, they found the body. He had passed away. However, what they also found was that the freezing mechanism, the apparatus that controlled the temperature inside that car, had been malfunctioning for days. That temperature in that car had never got below 49 degrees. The man succumbed to this illusion that he was trapped and that he wasn't going to make it, that he would die, and he ultimately died. No reason to do that. But isn't this what you and I do? Many of us, we resign ourselves to the fact that I can only generate this much money. No one in my family has ever gone to college before. No one in my family has ever become a millionaire before. No one's ever said, I'm not going to. We get that image in our mind. Again, this self-image that I'm not that I'm not worthy of that. I don't deserve that. I doubt, banish the doubt. I doubt that I can ever achieve that. When we see on one side the negative effects of succumbing to this type of thought, when in fact things are never as bad as they seem. The temperature was never below 49 degrees, although he believed it was and he died. The other side is no one's ever written $5 million in business before, but he believed that he could do that. Bob Proctor told him as much, and he took that belief and he said, yes, I believe it. I see myself doing it. Not only did he do it, hundreds more after him did it. Just like the 4-minute mile. Did you know that in Egypt, the Egyptians would actually unleash lions to chase after men in hopes that they would be able to break the 4 minute mile? For thousands of years, experts had said no man can do this. Cardiovascularly, they can't do it. Anatomically, we're not built that way. Thousands of years until we know Roger Bannister came along and said, I'm not going to believe the experts. I'm the expert of my life. I will say it. And of course, we know what happened. He not only did it, but hundreds more, if not maybe thousands more have now run a mile in less than 4 minutes. It's all a belief. It's all a self-image. So I will tell you, in fact, there's a story here talking about how far back this goes with self-image. Here, another example of the mind, of the self-image, of the idea we get in our mind. Van Gogh was asked about his paintings. How can he paint such beautiful paintings? He said, I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. What is your dream? What can you dream? Watching this right now, is what I'm saying to you right now, is it starting to elicit that feeling? Are you starting to feel that inside of you, that yes, I can do this, whatever it may be? Can you dream it and then paint your dream? Okay. The student, you and I, endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws, must stand guard more strictly over our thoughts and expressions, inward or otherwise. For everything that you say, I am not, I can not, I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, unconsciously, throttling that great presence within you, the subconscious, the universal conscious within you. You are throttling that every time you say, yeah, but you don't understand my circumstance. Yeah, but you don't understand where I came from. Yeah, but you don't understand my family life. Yeah, but we are knowingly, but in this case, most likely unknowingly, bringing all of that to us. When we can, it's just been illustrated, we can change this belief system. I would like for you to think of it as like a funnel, as like a blinders. You put blinders on and you only see that, whatever it is you want to do, be, or have. Because life, ladies and gentlemen, your life, your reality is nothing more than just a reflection of those thoughts. So this is from Neville Goddard. It goes on. This is just as tangible as if you placed your hands about the throat of an outer form, only with the outer form, your thought, governing the hand. You can release it at any time. But when you make a declaration using the words, I am not, you set in motion mighty limitations, energy that continues to act unless it is recalled and the imperfection unless the imperfection is removed. This shows you the mighty power you have to qualify the mighty energy of God. Dynamite is less dangerous. Dynamite is less dangerous, for that would be but liberate you from the body, where these thoughts set forth ignorantly and ungoverned bind you upon the wheel of, actually, I don't even know what I wrote there. Anyway, I was writing too quickly, and I actually I can't understand what I wrote. But understand this: there's a force within all of us. It's within the cosmos. There is this force. It is this what people call source energy, or universal energy, or consciousness. Your life, whatever it is you want to do, be, or have, is but a thought away, but not just a thought. It is a thought that you capture within you, an idea that you capture within your mind, and you hold to this idea. You forget, you don't deal with or worry about any circumstances. You stay steadfast to this because it has been documented throughout the ages that people who have been able to do this have been able to manifest in their life. And it's not really so much manifesting, it's lifting the veil, lifting the fog that is already there. You see, the $5 million policies or the business was already written. It's already there. It's just a matter of him, because it was there because he did it and hundreds more after him did it. The 4 minute mile, breaking that was already possible. Why? Because Bannister did it and hundreds, if not thousands, since him have done it. The airplane going into the sky, it was already there. There's a book here for you to read if you want to. It's an incredible book called Your Invisible Power. You and I, we have this power within us. And it's just a little passage from it I read this morning. Never forget that every physical thing, whether for you or against you, was a sustained thought before it was a thing. These are your thoughts. Your self-image is nothing more than just a collection of your thoughts. And if you string these thoughts together for a minimal of 21 days, you begin to form a habit. So I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's as simple as just writing down in a journal, writing down every single day, what is it that you want to do? What is it you want to be? What is it you want to have in your life that's not there now? Write it down, but write it down in present tense, the I am. I am so happy and grateful now, present tense, that I am, or whatever it is that's in your life. You write it as if you already are that, because you are that. It's just a matter of thinking and believing and understanding and getting the feeling that you already are that, to the point where you're living it every single day. And then you are shortening the gap between what you're thinking about and bringing about into your life. You are like metal. You're attracting it like a magnet to a piece of metal. Something else I want to share with you here that I wrote down in my notes. One second. I found this here. Okay. Socrates thought much and wrote very little. Plato, now think about this. Socrates and Plato, we're going that far back. Plato took what he learned from Socrates and put it into words. And we're all the beneficiaries of the works of Socrates. Socrates made this an analogy about this governor or this concept, this belief system, this image of ourself, and how it controls all of the performance in each person's life. I'm going to read that again. This is very, very, very vitally important. Socrates wrote or analogized about this image of self, okay, and how it controls all of the performance in each person's life. It's just your image, guys. It's just the image you have of yourself. So imagine all these. So imagine there's these. This is how he analogized Socrates. Imagine there is prisoners in a den, and they have been there since birth, and they are all lined up beside one another, and they are chained at the neck, at the arm, the wrists, and the feet. Okay, and they can only look left and right, and they can step forward, and they can take a step back. It's almost as like they're on the 50-yard line. Okay, in life, they can take one step forward and one step back. They can look to their left and look to their right. Okay, now, but that's the extent of what they can do. And that's symbolic of us taking one step closer to our goal and then one step back because we're afraid. We don't want to go too far. We don't want to go too far back or too far ahead. So we stay on the 50-yard line of our life. Again, self-image. Generate a certain amount of money. We don't go any further than that. Okay? We don't want to go too far. Why? Well, because we've been conditioned to believe what? Businesses fail. Yep. Anybody goes into business, they fail. Most businesses fail. So you don't want to do that. You want the safe, secure job. Why? Because brother-in-law Bob had the safe, secure job, and look at him. Oh, Bob over there too, and look at Janie over there. You know, is that what they really wanted to do? Well, no, but you see, you have to have a safe, secure job. But is it what they? Who is it? Did they live their life? Truly live their life as to what they feel inside, who they want to be? Did they come out of the womb saying, "I want to be whatever it was, that safe, secure job"? No, of course not. So they gave that up. They sacrificed that. They sacrificed themselves for who they truly are, what's stirred inside of them. And I will tell you this as much because I know some of these people that after their retirement, their life did a 180. Like we're suddenly, well, where's this person been all along? Because they weren't living authentically and they were fighting against it. That's why they were miserable for all those years. So he goes on. Now, what ends up happening is the prisoners start to see a shadow. Okay? There's a big wall with a shadow moving back and forth, things moving back and forth. And they hear these voices. And there's this opening and this is what Socrates talked about. There was like almost like an elbow, an opening. And one of the prisoners at the end, the shackles fall off. And they're able to climb up and they're able to peer out. Now remember, they've been there since birth. It's in a den. And he sees the trees. This is what Socrates says. He sees the trees and the flowers and all the green, lush grass in the bright sunlight. And he falls back from there. And then he goes back up again. And then the prisoner, as he starts to ascend and go into the light, he starts to follow this vision, is what he's seeing. He can start to hear from the prisoners yelling back to him, come back, tell us what you see, tell us what's there, what is there, what is on the other side. And he ends up going into this, but he gets so afraid. And he hears the voices and they say, stop. Are you sure? Are you sure? Can you show us? Are you afraid? Watch, be afraid out there. Watch what you're looking at. And he jumps back down and he goes back onto line without the shackles. And the prisoners, and this is what Socrates says. Prisoner said, see, he went up and he came back down. He was too afraid. It didn't work out. So we're better off just staying here. This is what Socrates talked about, guys. This was his analogy for how we are prisoners and we don't even realize it. See, this is the thing. We've been led to believe that the safe, secure life, this tiptoeing through life just to get to our death safely is the way to go. I'm here to say, I don't want to live that way. I'm going to live my life following my dream, following my bliss, not giving a rat's you-know-what about what circumstances say. Because circumstances, guys, are nothing more than my thinking. If things are going a little sideways, I stop and I say, okay, it's my circumstance, it's my thinking that has led to this circumstance. What is it about my thinking that's still not correct? We course correct. I'm not saying everything's going to be roses and sunlight, but we understand though that whenever we kind of deviate from that line is when things go a little sideways. We say, okay, I'm going to course correct. I'm going to start to realize, what am I thinking about? What have I been thinking about? But we keep this idea, this thought in our mind and in front of us. We live our life fixated on what it is that we want to do, be, or have. If we want to lose weight, we want to have that we want to get that perfect weight or that healthier weight. We fixate on that. We put pictures up of that. We create a vision board, whatever it may be, to keep that in front of us. We journal every single day. When you wake up in the morning, you're quiet, or take any time in the day, quiet time, and you write down in present tense what your life is like now, the life that you want to live. Is it a house? If you're living in a house, what does the house look like? If you're not living in a house, what does the house that you want to live in look like? What do the walls look like? How many bedrooms does it have? What is the color of the house? If it's a car, write in descriptive, be descriptive. What does a car look like? What kind of a make is it? What kind of a trim does it have? Color, is it leather? Is it whatever, sunroof, no sun, whatever it may be? What do the rims look like? Everything. And you live your life as if you were doing that now. You're driving that car, that truck. You're living in that house. You're living in that neighborhood. Your kids are going to a certain school system, private school, whatever it may be. You have the job, or you have the promotion. You're the president of the company. You are the CEO of your own company. You're writing it in present tense now as if you already have it, because history is just full of stories. And going back to Socrates and Plato, of analogies of how the majority of people live and only realize they're living in a prison. The prison oftentimes, in many, all the times, based on their own thoughts. But a lot of these thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, are from people before them. Remember what I've said, from third trimester through age 7, we have, our mind is like this. I drew this here. This is our mind. Okay, this is a subconscious mind at from third trimester, when the brain goes on, through age 7. Okay, and these red lines are all the conditioned programming going in. This here is not formed, the rest of the mind, because it's not formed yet at that age. From third trimester through age 7, it's not formed. So anything we see, anything we hear from our society, mom and dad, church, school, whatever it may be, teachers, it all gets downloaded into this conditioned mind, this subconscious mind. But then these green arrows, okay, these green arrows represent our new thinking, our conscious mind, and this idea that we get. What is it you want to do, be, or have? We start to bring these ideas, we start to flood the subconscious with these new ideas. And oftentimes what happens is then these old conditioned beliefs start to leave the subconscious, and are replaced by these types of these ideas, what we want to do, be, or have. Our society, civilization is just chock full of stories like that. People were not born billionaires, but they were born into, or maybe they eventually got to where they were in a society, or they're in a community. Their environment became very much this, the green, around people who had these types of thinking, the billionaire type of thinking, the people who drove the cars, who, today's June 1st, go on vacation for a month and then return on July, let's say July 6th or 7th, after the July 4th holiday. Here's the key. They return, they have more money in their account than from today. But what does the average person do? The average person goes on vacation, and when they come home, they've got what? They got a shitload of credit card debt from their vacation. Now they have to go to work. And like I talked to you about, the safe, secure job that they don't like, but it's safe and it's secure, and they're miserable. Most people in their lives, folks, live their life in quiet desperation. Quiet. And we know this is true because why? If you're of my age, or slightly older, or slightly younger, you're starting to hear about how certain classmates of yours from high school now have passed away from cancer, or have heart disease, or have some sort of diabetes, or what have you. All this dis-ease. Why? Well, because if you're my age, some of your classmates have been working at jobs for 20 or 30 years. And their lifestyle is such that they have now dis-ease. The majority of those who are in that upper class, wealthy people, don't have that. The majority of them don't. Why? Well, because a lot of them, they live their lives. They're following their bliss. They're following that voice, that little voice inside that said, yes, I want to go do that. I am that. I am living in that neighborhood where all the kids go to private schools and private universities, or they don't even go to university at all, but they follow their bliss. I'm living there. You see what I'm saying? I know I sound like I'm centering a lot of this around money, but it is true. When you start to think this way, you can't not attract that type of wealth into your life. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of lifestyle. Bob Proctor talked about it. He said, you know, when he started to do this self-discovery, he went from somebody who had received his third or fourth eviction notice from where he was renting. He had a job where he was making $40,000 a year, but he ended up he ended up contracting with the same company who are now paying him $4,000 per hour. All because he changed this. He got into these books. If he was around these days, he would be watching these types of videos. This is at your disposal, right here. Okay? We have a choice every single moment of every single day. You, me, everybody watching this. We have this choice, this option every single day to focus on our thinking. Society wants you and I to get lost into all the drama and the sensationalism out there and the seductiveness of the politics of the day. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. This country is burning up. That's all very seductive. We can easily slide into that. Just as well as we can easily slide into an addiction of drugs or alcohol. That's just escapism. This, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, if you become disciplined in this, if this becomes an all-encompassing obsessiveness about your life, about focusing on what your thinking is, and you live your life literally moment to moment, thinking about who you are and what makes you tick and your thoughts every single moment, that yes, my thoughts are of love and of happiness and of joy and of how I can help others, a life of service. The more people you help feel they can uncover all this, the better the world is going to be. We do this, folks, one video at a time, one thought at a time. You change these thoughts, and then you go out and then you follow that bliss, follow that desire that's inside of you. You do this, and I promise as far as just as much as I'm sitting here talking into this video, your life is going to change dramatically in so many different ways. But it starts right now with your thinking. It's disciplining yourself to those types of thoughts, to writing, okay? Writing in a journal every single day as if you are already that which you want to be. Reading the books, okay? The wealth mindset. Reading the books. My invisible power, okay? It's reading the books. You Are the Placebo, okay? It's getting around a community of people, videos and books. This is a community that are like-minded, that people are saying, this is how you do it. This is how you overcome the addiction. And I know I'm not talking about addiction to alcohol and drugs, although that is part of it. The addiction to the self-image that is a negative self-image, but you don't understand image. My family's never gone to college image. My family's never had a millionaire in an image. You get rid of it. You start right now doing that. If what you're watching you like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you receive all of my videos. And I will tell you, watch them over and over and over and over again. Because each time you do, you're going to hear something from my voice that you think, oh, I didn't hear it the first time. Or I heard it, but it sounds a little different now. Because that's all I've done. I've watched others, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neville Goddard, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Bob Proctor I talked about. Listened, read the books, read, and watch their videos over and over again. deny the evidence of your senses and assume the feeling of your wish as being fulfilled, because it is. It already is. Guaranteed. God bless. Have a great day.